Stop recording video. Button. 2 seconds. Stop recording video. Speech off.
Howdy folks, we're here, live from the wilds of my basement after a slightly shortish hiatus. Sorry for the weird way the camera's positioned, but that's what you're getting. And the lighting down here leaves a wee bit to be desired, but hey, blind people don't need a whole lot of light. We get most of our nutrition from the sun, which is not happening in my basement. Oh, hold on. Now the humidifier bee thing is on. Please hold. Turn him off. Usually I do that before I start taping. Anyway, not to waste any more of your time, but here, barring any natural disasters, or unnatural disasters, we're going to finish this here Diary of a Wimpy Kid book. In case you've forgotten, because it's been quite a while, it's called The Long Haul. Alright, let's get her done. Wednesday. It took me a long time to fall asleep last night, and I was woken up at about 6 o'clock in the morning when the supermarket employees started arriving for work. Brackety thing. A guy walks past with a long line of shopping trolleys rattling very loudly. End brackety thing. By then, the sun was up, and it was already hot in the car, plus we were all sticky and miserable from sleeping in our clothes. We walked over to the supermarket to see if they'd let us use their restrooms to wash up, but the manager said the store wouldn't be open to customers for another 2 hours. When we walked back to the car, Mom said we could use Manny's baby wipes to get cleaned up, but then she realized she had accidentally locked the keys inside the minivan. Brackety thing. Caption type gadget. They can see the keys in the cup holder between the two front seats. End brackety fun little thing. There was some hope though. The sunroof was still open, so Dad tried to fish the keys out of the cup holder. Bracket thing. Dad has his fishing rod out and is trying to cast the hook forward into the front of the van. End brackety thing. After a lot of trying, he still couldn't get the right angle. It looked like we were out of luck at that point, but then Mom suggested maybe Manny could get the keys out. So Dad lowered Manny through the sunroof by his leash. Meow. Once Manny was in the van, he took his sweet time. First, he went to the back and ate 2 barbecue sauce packets we had kept. Then he dug through my duffel bag and found a pack of Oreos I'd been saving just in case. Brackety thing. Greg pounds desperately on the van window while Manny ignores him and gobbles down the cookies. And brackety thing. Manny finally made his way to the front of the car and got the keys, but instead of opening the door to let us in, he started the engine. Then he fiddled with the knob on the stereo until he found a radio station he liked. Brackety thing. Radio. The itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout. And brackety thing. Mom and Dad were pounding on the window, trying to get Manny to open the door. But then Manny put the car into drive. I think until then, everyone had forgotten that Manny had been trying to run away because he never would have made the mistake of letting him in the van by himself if we had remembered that. Luckily, Manny wasn't tall enough to reach the accelerator because if he could have, we'd have all been long gone. Brackety thing. The van smashes into a line of shopping trolleys. And brackety thing. I think Manny knew his escape plan was foiled, at least for now. Mom finally convinced him to unlock the doors and let us in. Once we got going again, I started seeing some familiar sights out of the window because we were basically retracing our path back home. We were coming up to the town where we'd spent the first night of the trip, and when we passed by the motel we'd stayed in, I saw the craziest thing. There was a purple van in the parking lot. I told Dad, and he pulled over. We took a closer look at the van, and sure enough, it was the one that belonged to the Beardos. That meant they were still staying at this motel and were probably using Mom and Dad's credit cards to pay for it all. We parked our car at the side of the building. Dad said he was going to call the cops and so he could get was going to call the cops, so he got out to use the phone at the front desk. But 30 seconds later, Dad came running back to the car. He said he saw the Beardos leaving their room to go down to the pool, and it looked like their door was left open. Mom said we should stick with the plan and call the police, but Dad said that before we did, we should do a little investigating of our own. So we all got out and followed Dad to the Beardos' room. Just like he'd said, the door was open a crack. Dad nudged it open a little wider, and we peeked inside to see if anything of ours was sitting in plain view. But we couldn't see any of our stuff from where we were standing. Brackety thing. Everyone's head was poking around the edge of the door, and brackety thing. Mom seemed pretty uneasy about what we were doing, but then Dad pushed the door all the way open, and there was no turning back after that. Brackety thing. The family totally ransacked the room, and brackety thing, rifling through cupboards and a suitcase, and tossing clothes everywhere, and other brackety thing. We couldn't find anything of ours, so the Beardos did have... So, if the Beardos did have any of our stuff, they probably carried it with them to the pool. But as long as we had the run of the room, we decided to take a full advantage of it. I figured it was okay since we were the ones paying for it. Brackety thing. Mom has a wash in the bathroom sink. Dad and Roderick consume the contents of the minibar, and Greg stands directly in front of the air conditioner unit, and brackety thing. Greg. Pleasure. That's nice. I think Mom felt we were setting a bad example for Manny, so she took him out to the car. But the rest of us weren't finished yet. Me and Roderick took turns using the bathroom while Dad stood watch at the door. Then he went in and told us to be lookouts for him. We had pushed our luck, though. The second Dad shut the door to the bathroom, I saw the Beardos coming our way. Now, I love my dad and all, but I'm too young to die, so I bolted, and Roderick was right behind me. I wasn't there to see it, but I'm guessing it was pretty awkward when Mr. Beardo opened his bathroom door. Brackety thing. Mr. Beardo stands in the doorway looking utterly shocked, while Dad sits on the toilet, looking shocked and scared, and brackety thing. Me and Roderick got in the van and locked the doors. I was pretty convinced Dad wouldn't or wasn't gonna make it out of the room alive, and we were just gonna have to go on our way home without him. But Mom pulled the car around to the front of the motel, and when she did, Dad burst out of the Beardo's room. Brackety thing. Dad tears over to the van with his trousers still around his ankles, and brackety thing. Somehow, Dad had gotten the idea to grab their car keys on his way out. Before he got in our car, he chucked the keys into some bushes which bought us some more time. I think we must have gone 2 miles down the road before Dad even bothered to pull his trousers back up. We high-fived each other because we had escaped with our lives. But in our rush to get away, we forgot to turn on the heater. And a few seconds later, the radiator conked out. The van sputtered and shakes to a halt. Mom had to cut across 2 lanes of traffic to get the van into the breakdown lane, but in the spot where we pulled over, there was a broken bottle, and we rolled right over it. The back tire hisses as the air rapidly leaks out. We got out of the car so we could change the tire. Dad opened the back hatch to find his jack, but unfortunately, I had taken it out before we left for the trip to make room for my pillow. The only thing we could do at that point was wait for help to arrive. Eventually, a car pulled over behind us, but when it got closer, I knew we were in big trouble. It was the purple van. I figured the Beardos might try to ram us with their car, so I braced for impact. But the van slowed down, and when the doors opened, it wasn't the Beardos at all. Brackety thing. 2 smart young men approached the car, and brackety thing. It was pretty obvious that whatever those guys were, they were here to help. But they didn't speak English, so we were having trouble communicating with them. Mom and Dad tried to act out what was wrong with the car, and I'm sure the 2 guys thought my parents had completely lost their minds. Mom pointed at the tire. Flips. Psst. Dad pointing at the radiator. Frup. Frup. The 2 guys looked completely baffled. Then Manny surprised everyone by speaking in perfect Spanish. Manny. This is not going to be perfect Spanish, by the way. Saludos, amigos. Gracias por ayudarnos. The 2 guys smile at Manny. The conversation between Manny and the 2 guys lasted a long time, so I figured Manny was explaining everything that had happened on our trip. He must have done a good job making the guys feel sorry for us because the next thing you knew, they were offering us a ride. And I'm happy to say their air conditioning worked perfectly. Brackety thing. Everyone's in the Spanish van looking happy at last. Well, the radio plays Spanish music and brackety thing. Radio. Two caras! Can something, me, amor, and brackety thing. I think we assumed the guys were taking us to the mechanic or something, but we were wrong. We should have realized that if Manny was the one doing all the talking, we'd end up going where he wanted to go. Brackety thing. The van pulls up outside the petting zoo and brackety thing. Sunday. Like I said before, Mom was right about pigs being smart. She had it house trained within a week, and the pig even knows a few tricks already. My only real complaint is that now I never get a chance to watch my shows on TV because the pig has figured out how to use the remote. But I'm gonna let that go because I don't want to get bitten a second time. Brackety thing. Manny and the pig are sitting together happily on the sofa, watching television, and brackety thing. TV. What sound does a cow make? Pig. Oink. And brackety thing. It's taken a while for everything to get back to normal after the trip. Dad had to take a few more days off work to cancel all of his credit cards and get new ones. And tomorrow, Mom and Dad are supposed to go out and get new driver's licenses and phones. Our minivan's been at the mechanic since it was towed. We gave the boat to the drivers who helped us out as a way of saying thank you, which was actually Mom's suggestion. Brackety thing. As the boat disappeared, Mom happily waves them off. Dad looks glum. Sad, really. And brackety thing. Mom's been saying that even though our trip didn't go the way she planned, it was still an adventure. She's been working on an article to send into Family Frolic. That I seriously hope does not get published. Mom's also been making a scrapbook, and she asked everyone to contribute a souvenir to put inside. I was going through the clothes I wore on the trip, and when I picked up my shorts, something small fell out onto the floor. It was the key from Soak Central's locker. I couldn't believe I had the key all along. It turns out I was wrong about the locker number, but I should get some credit for being close. The key is number 292. Now that I have the key, I have a tough decision to make. It feels like a page from one of those choose your own adventure books. I figure I have 3 basic choices. 1, I can tell Mom and Dad the truth and deal with the consequences. 2, I can plant the key in Roderick's dirty laundry and let him take the blame. Or 3, I can flush the key down the toilet and forget this whole thing ever happened. There's a 4th option that involves the pig, but I haven't worked out the details of that one yet. But, like I said before, whenever I have a difficult choice to make, I always seem to pick the wrong one. And whichever way I go here, it's hard to see which story having a more happy ending. The end. There's acknowledgements and all kinds of fun stuff, but I don't think anybody wants to hear all of those, so we're not going to read them. If you do, well, you can email me, but I will probably have forgotten what book they're in by then, so that's too bad, eh? How about the author? Nah, let's not do that either. Top games to play? Oh, that could be fun. On your next road trip. The country game? Nah. It's all the ones I talked about in the game, I think. I think we're all done. All right, that was fun. Had I known there was that little smidgen left instead of all this extra junk at the back, I would have finished the book 3 weeks ago when I read the part before. You know, the part I read twice because my camera broke. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Diary of a Wimpy Kid Long Haul, read by me, written by Jeff Kinney. We will be back sometime, probably sooner than later, most likely for sure over the Christmas break if I'm not bakerying too wildly. And apparently I'm also helping my sister move appliances into her new house. Oh boy. Anyway, until next time, this is me, Brad Wetlaufer, Mr. Wetlaufer, Mr. W, or whatever else you choose to call me, signing out. See ya!
Speech up, near bottom right edge. Take picture. Stop recording video.
Yes, please.